Welcome to Progress Theory, a podcast where I explore what it takes for a human being to actually change and transform in hopes that doing so will help create growth in both my life and yours. Today, I'm going to be thinking through the difference between vision and delusion because it often seems like the line between the two can get extremely blurred. This brings me to the central question of today's episode. How can we tell whether we are just early in actualizing a vision that can actually come true, or we are just chasing a delusion that is guaranteed to fail? This is a pretty heavy question for me. It's something that I have struggled with and has been present in my life for a very long time. What I'm about to share is something that I am a little hesitant to talk about openly, but I think it's very pertinent to the topic of this episode, and so it makes sense to bring it up. Since I was 18, I have been someone who has what some people would call a strong vision for their life, and what a lot of other people, probably most people, would call delusions of grandeur. Since I was in the probably second half of being 18, I developed an absolute conviction that I am someone who's capable of building a massive company. I will build a huge organization. I'll build a lot of wealth in my life, have a huge impact, and I will become extraordinary by a lot of people's standards. And I believed this would happen 100%. There was no doubt in my mind at that point. And over the course of 8 years, I would say I've become more grounded in reality, but I still have a very strong vision, and I believe that I have a lot of potential. But when you look at my behavior, over the course of 8 years in which I've been believing that I'm capable of achieving something massive, I have struggled a lot with addiction. I have self-destructed at numerous points. I have failed at every single business that I've tried to build. I'm sitting here 8 years later with no real success seen. And over time, after failure, failure, it's caused me to really question, am I delusional? Like, am I someone who does have potential and I can achieve exceptional things, but I just have a slow start and I had a lot that I had to work through? Or am I someone who's going to spend the rest of my life believing I'm capable and failing over and over and chasing a vision that will never come to be? Is this just a lack of self-awareness? And when trying to work through this, and it's almost not something that I have to work through. It's just when trying to answer this question truthfully and figure out what answer most aligns with reality, it's caused me to think through a lot of different aspects of this. I think one thing is that pretty much everyone has a vision for the best version of themselves and the best version of their life. They have a somewhat to extremely detailed vision for who they could become and what exceptional life they could create. And very few people ever actually take any sort of action towards doing this. Of the people who do take action, a lot of people quit extremely early at the first sign of failure. They take the first step and then they give up very quickly. And of the people who don't, who take the first step and fail and keep going and keep trying, some people spend years, if not decades, chasing their vision, and it doesn't come to be. It is very obvious that vision alone is not enough. And for most people, the vision they have for themselves doesn't ever actually come true. And this brings me to the second point. Vision and manifestation, these concepts are somewhat deified in the personal development space. They're pushed hard in self-improvement and spirituality, but a lot of the time our visions do not align with reality. They do not actually sync up. Our vision is built on top of our beliefs about the world. And a lot of the times our beliefs are incomplete or inaccurate. None of us have a completely accurate understanding of the world around us. And so sometimes the vision we have for what the world can be and what we can be is destined to fail. It just will not happen. And sometimes our vision is built on this idea that if we just push enough, if we just grow enough, we can get there. But there are objective constraints to reality. For a very easy, tangible example, someone who is 5'2" and 140 pounds who deeply believes they are capable of making it to the NBA. They think, I can develop the skill, I can get good enough, I can make this happen. And they believe it with absolute certainty that this will occur. They're never going to make it to the NBA. There are constraints that they are working with in their genetics that just makes it impossible. And it doesn't really matter how much they believe it to, how much they believe that is going to happen. And this brings me to the next point. It doesn't matter how much we believe something is going to happen. It won't happen unless we take the actions that make it real. And this is a huge problem, I think, with the vision, belief, manifestation group. And I'm going to take a very direct stance against this group right now. I don't think it matters how deep your vision or how adamantly you manifest something. The universe does not care about what you believe in and what you're trying to manifest. Manifestation and vision is useful because it changes our perspective. It changes what we focus on. It changes how we think about the world around us. And by changing what we focus on and how we think, it can change our actions. We can start taking actions that align with the reality we're trying to create. I think that's real and that's very useful. But the belief that just envisioning it deeply and manifesting it will result in the universe kind of forming around us and just making it happen, that to me is delusional, and not only delusional, but dangerous, because that can keep you trapped where you are just sitting there believing something will happen without ever doing the thing to make it happen. And you are going to spend your whole life living in delusion. That is real delusion. And again, very tangible example here. Imagine you are someone who is overweight. You want to lose weight. You want to get skinny. And you buy into manifestation. You buy into belief. And you start spending every day ruminating on your vision for the skinny you. You spend every day manifesting this belief. And saying, I'm going to be skinny. I'm going to be skinny. And visualizing it, seeing it deeply. But then you eat in a 1,000 calorie surplus every day. You just keep doing it. You're not going to get skinny. You will be fat forever. You will keep getting fatter indefinitely. No matter how much you believe you're going to lose weight. The action has to align with the vision you are trying to bring into reality. And I think the hardest point here for me to swallow is the fact that some people have a vision that aligns with reality. They take the right actions and it still doesn't come true because some people just get unlucky. They are working with factors outside of their control that get in the way. Whether it's their environment, the time period they grew up in, some unforeseen circumstance coming out of nowhere, it's possible to take the right actions and still not get the result you want. And this is going to be a very extreme example of this. But imagine you spend 20 years building towards the stream business and you take the right steps, you constantly iterate your methods, you learn from your experiences, and you get better and better. You develop the skill sets, the beliefs, the frameworks necessary to succeed. And then society collapses. The world around us breaks down. Civilization goes to shit. You envisioned that deeply. You took the right steps. But you can't control reality. You can't actually control everything. And sometimes that will just completely wipe out all of your effort, and there's nothing you can do about it. Now, the question stood out to me, not only for my own sake. I think this is clearly something that is pretty universal. A lot of people struggle with this, especially anyone who has a clear vision of how they want to grow, whether it's huge growth or it's just small changes they're trying to make in their life. There's this period where they have a vision of who they want to become and what they want to accomplish, but there's no proof. They have no success. They only have failure, and everyone around them kind of looks at them like, okay, like good luck, try it. Everyone goes through this period where they question, am I deluding myself? Is this real? Do I actually have this capability, or am I just self-delusional? And I want to ask directly, like if you're watching this, do you struggle with identifying whether the things you're trying to accomplish, the vision you have for your life, is real and something that can't come true, or if it's just delusion? There's a lot of different avenues of life where this could apply. It could be you are someone who wants to build a successful business. You have, whether it's a huge, massive, world-changing company, or it's just a small local service business. You have this vision of you running your own company, you building it up, you finding financial success through entrepreneurship, and yet you just keep failing, or you are not finding the success that you want in the business you're currently working on. And you just doubt that it will ever happen. It could be that you have a vision for your life in which you're going to find a great partner and you're going to start a family, but you just can't seem to find that partner. You just go on a string of miserable dates, no matter how much you're trying to become more attractive and learn how to attract the right people and build relationship skills. It just is not working, and you don't think it'll ever work. It could be something very small, like you envision a version of yourself that wakes up a little bit earlier, but you just can't seem to make it happen. Doesn't matter what it is. This concept can pretty much be applied to every area of life. But I want to ask directly with it, do the failures you experience cause you to question if you're just going to spend the rest of your life chasing something, chasing change that will never actually happen? With most of these podcast episodes, I try to end it with a tangible action step that I'm going to take. The whole point of this is to ask a question that identifies a problem and look for a solution that can actually create measurable change in my life and other people's. That is the idea behind this format. And in doing so, I always want to end with an action step that is measurable and testable that I'm going to take and try out in my own life. I think this is a question that is harder to create a very tangible action step with, because this is a mindset and perspective problem more than it's a behavior or a very tangible issue that's immediately solvable with a strategy or framework. I think the reality is this. Every person who has ever existed in the human race, who has accomplished something rare or innovative or exceptional, has gone through this same process. There is a period of time, probably always years, but potentially decades sometimes, where they really question, like, is what I'm working towards ever going to work? Am I ever going to be capable of doing this, or am I just wasting my life and wasting my time chasing something that is destined to fail? And they had to work through that. They just had to keep going. They had to push through it until it worked, or it was proven to them that they had to pivot. And I think if we were playing a different game, this wouldn't be a problem. Like if we had infinite time to try and experience and adapt, all of us could find extraordinary success. If we had 2,000 years to keep pushing and we just kept pushing and kept learning from our experiences, trying to iterate our methods, we would all be able to get extremely successful, but we don't have unlimited time. That is the real constraint. We can simply run out of time before our vision has been able to be actualized. And I think that brings us to the core issue. Is vision is delusion until proven otherwise. Because anyone who wants to achieve something massive and who does achieve something massive has this period of time where what they see in their mind is disconnected from reality. Like anyone who looks at their life, who looks at what they're doing, the proof does not support the vision. It would be irrational for someone else to believe that what you're doing is going to fully work. So that is the game. That really is the process, is just continuing to try, continuing to push for years and decades and recognizing it might not happen. There's a chance I run out of time before this ever works. There's a chance the vision I am working towards does not fully align with reality and I'm going to have to pivot it. And there's only two paths you can take. You can either let that serve as an excuse to give up before you try and guarantee failure and more or less guarantee that you're going to get to the end of your life and feel nothing but regret. Or you can just try anyways, and you can keep trying, and you can keep trying to learn from your experience. You can change your methods. You can adjust the vision as you learn more and more about yourself and the world around you. And you can accept that you will never control the outcome. You might not get anywhere close to where you want to go. But the only way to know whether your vision is delusion or something that can actually be achieved is to just keep trying indefinitely and surrender the outcome. And sometimes it's worth pivoting and switching the vision. A lot of the time it is, because again, visions are built on beliefs that might not be accurate. But at the end of the day, all we can really do is just keep trying and testing and improving our methods and accept that we don't have full control. It might never happen, but that's okay. And the process of trying is going to alleviate the doubt. It's going to bring fulfillment. And even if we don't reach the end goal, we can reach the end of our life and take a lot of pride and find a lot of fulfillment in the fact that we really gave it our best effort. And for a more practical step here, I am going to try to start applying this reframe in my life a lot more consistently, because I want to build a massive company and I am currently generating zero revenue. I have no idea what I'm doing. I constantly feel this doubt that like it's not going to happen. I don't know what I'm talking about. But I don't care. I want to keep trying. I want to keep playing the game. I want to devote myself to this for years and decades and see how far I can get. So every time I start to feel that doubt and that fear and that voice in my head telling me like this isn't worth trying, I might just be delusional. What is the point? I could spend my whole life putting everything into this and fail. I'm going to reframe it and just remind myself it could be delusion. The only way to know is to try my best for a long period of time, adjust based on my experiences, and accept that it might not happen, and that is okay. So, like I said, it's not as practical of a solution as some of the other episodes, but I hope this still is able to bring some peace for me, bring some belief and some strength to my mindset, and I hope it is able to generate that for you as well. Thank you for watching. This is episode 14 of this podcast. I hope you found something of value in it. If you did, definitely subscribe or follow the podcast. There'll be future episodes like this released weekly, talking about human transformation, life design, growth, optimizing for well-being. If you are a driven man in your 20s who is stuck in a loop of starting strong, collapsing, and resetting, I've created a free 7-day scoring challenge that will help you build a positive behavior, break a negative behavior, and track it so that it is measured and proven that you are growing. Go ahead and go to progresstheory.com to join that challenge and start building momentum that actually lasts. I want to just express I appreciate anyone who is listening to this. I wish you all the growth that you are looking for in your life, and I will see you next time.